Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about a couple of things you need to get started in UX. This is one of the questions that came up pretty frequent recently. To me, I actually came from a totally different background as a lighting designer working in the architectural world. It was one of the most daunting questions to me back then. When I looked to change my career path, what should I do? Where do I start it? I know I am really interested, but to actually get my first job as a UX designer, where do I start? Obviously I don't have an academic background in HCI or the UX field, but what do I need to do to actually break into the field? Okay, so the first thing you will need is build up the project experience. By the time you're looking at this video, you probably already did a lot of online research that you have a good idea that a web portfolio is a must-have to start any job application as a UX designer. But how do you build up those project experience? To me, that's one of the biggest questions that I had. How do I get experience? How do I build up have the actual materials and good numbers of projects that I can actually put into my portfolio? So my suggestion to you is do not sit there and wait for opportunities. Go seek for it or create the opportunities on your own. I think to me, the very first chance I actually got to work on a real world project experience is through actually a friend's reference that I learned there's a small size tech firm in the Bay Area looking for some help to create their company website to attract business and local talents. So I took that job as a part-time and worked on it. At the same time, I have a full-time job as a lighting designer. It's really, I think it's incredibly important to have those real world experience when it comes into work with the client to understand what's the need, what's the problem need to be solved, to actually develop your ideas, your design, your solutions. Plus there are, different channels out there. You can explore options to work as a freelancer or contractor jobs. And another way to build up your project experience is to, create opportunity on your own. If you're really interested on a product, for example, as a lighting designer, I was very into interior design. And so I took one of the app that I use all the time and mobile app for basically online shopping for furnitures or in home decor stuff. And I did a whole UX study on what I think can be improved in the mobile app experience to make this product better. So, that is another way you can, another route you can take to build up your project experience. When it comes to HCI or user-centered design, you can talk and learn a lot about the knowledge base from different channels, but it is really important to have the work knowledge, how to actually approach a project, how to approach a design problem, and how to collaborate with your coworkers or working with the clients to actually develop iterations and validate it. So when it comes to a real world environment, you can actually, no matter what situations you're dealing with, you can actually continue move forward and ship a product. So don't be shy, go seek and create your opportunities and take any chance you can to build up your project experience. If I can do it, you can do it. So the next thing I want to talk about is bootcamps. People have different opinions when it comes to the subject of taking a design bootcamp, but I think it can be super helpful. there are different options there, whether you prefer a full-time or part-time program, on-site or online, remote study. Personally, I did a 3 months immersive full-time bootcamp, which really helped me not only to learn the design process and build up the project base, but also to really build up my confidence level that convince myself that I am ready to get into the field. I think the best way to find out whether it might be the good fit for you is to actually speak to someone who has taken the program. So if you can find someone through LinkedIn or through different friends connections, have a call or chat with them. It's really probably the best way I can think of to get to know, help you make decision on which bootcamp programs might fit you the best. So the next thing I want to talk about is resume. So when you start putting together your resume, it is incredibly helpful if you can connect the dot and relate your background. If you are transitioning from a different background, try to think about the skills and the core competence in your past job, like when it comes to design or communications, presentation, leadership, like what are the benefits or what are the values that you can bring into this UX job. And for example, in my experience, in the past as a lighting designer, although it's a different industry, a lot of the tools when it comes to visual design or visualizations is actually very applicable. And also, the design thinking, how you approach how to solve a design problem through iterations and testing different ideas through sketch or hand sketch, mock-ups, building 2D or 3D models to test and validate the idea through, finally validate and build the high fidelity prototype. It's actually very similar. So, but instead, like in a different industry, there are different terminologies used to describe how that works. For example, in the architectural world, the design phase is described as starting usually from SD, schematic design for concept generation, then to DD for design development, and through CD construction development. So when it comes to applying a UX job, you can definitely use the UX language to describe your thinking process or your past experience. For example, how you defined, how you defined a problem, and how you ideate the ideas through hand sketches or wireframes and so on, and then how you iterate the ideas by working with different team members to test it out until the final validations by building up high resolutions prototypes to validate the idea. So you definitely want to use the UX language and make your background and experience sounds relatable. So the next thing is portfolio. This is pretty obvious that, for any UX job, it's pretty much a must-have that you need to have a web portfolio. If you're looking for more details, please feel free to take a look at my other video that talking about 5 tips how to create a UX design portfolio. But in short, what I want to touch in briefly in this video is when it comes to building up your portfolio, everyone has their own workflow, and the best way is to build it as you work on the project. That's my experience. So, if you're working on something, you don't have to wait until it's completely finished to actually start working on the portfolio. You can, definitely, I definitely recommend doing it along the way, so you still have a fresh mind of what's your thinking process, how you made certain design decisions. So I usually just start with a Google Doc, so to really just simply typing down like some key elements. For example, what is the product, to really explain it in a simple language, and what is my role, what is the problem we're solving, and what is the platform we're designing. And then you can start typing down like what is the design approach, what have you done to generate the idea and make iterations. And at the end, if you did any testing or get any data, what is the design has, what has the improvement you have made. If you have any business data, that will be even better to help support your argument, to prove like what is the impact of your design. The point is, don't be afraid to show a project that is still ongoing. But at the end of the portfolio, it's always helpful to show some kind of summary of what you have learned from working on this project, what you have found, if there's any research or testings done after your design throughout, include those data. And also if you have any afterthoughts, for example, if you get to continue work on it, what will you be working on and why? So that's always helpful. So now you're ready for the job search. You got a resume, you got a portfolio, and what do I do like to start actually the job search? This might sound a really silly question. If you see a job opening, you can just go apply and see how it goes from there. So I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions comes to job search. There are so many information out there on the internet these days. You can tap a button to apply right away online, sometimes even directly through LinkedIn. But if you follow that typical path, just send your applications online, you probably will be checking your email after a few days. If you still don't hear anything from the HR, probably get a little bit disappointed. And if this happened for once or twice, fine. But if it happens all the time, you probably start getting a little bit frustrated, right? Is that something wrong with my portfolio? Is that something wrong with my resume, and you started doubting yourself, like, what have I done wrong? Why am I not getting any response, right? So this is one thing that I want to bring up in this video is, so when it comes to job search, I always recommend you to build your connections and do not just send your application online. No matter it is through friends reference or other events that you get to know people who actually works in the company that you want to apply for, it really helps to have those kind of connections, which can on one hand, of course, like help you apply the jobs through internal referrals. Or, sometimes they might be able to share a bit more about what they're actually looking for in this candidate. If they happen to know the hiring manager or have some insights about what the challenge this team is having, it will help. It definitely, I think, plays a huge factor to help you align with the expectation, whether you might be a good fit. And so my recommendation is always do not send your applications just simply online. I have seen a little bit from both sides as a hiring manager and an interviewee. There are so many different factors can be involved in the hiring process. And as a job applicant, you never know what's going on the other hand. They might have already interviewed quite a few candidates and at a later stage just for the making final decisions, or they might have a position currently seems still open, but actually they might having a hiring freeze coming up, and you never know. I think when it comes to job search, definitely want to start light, send apply as many opportunities as you can that you are interested. And you can always start with a spreadsheet and document what are those links and what are the roles, what's the date you sent the first application, when you moved into phone call with the hiring manager. That's always, I think, help me keep organized during this job application process. Of course, everyone want to move forward. Once you send the application, the next thing you want to get a phone call and you want to move forward to the next technical interview or on-site. But you really need to start from white, and then you can that will help you funnel through and to as many opportunities as possible to move forward. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is interview. This is a pretty big topic, so I'm not going to be able to cover everything here. I'm planning to have another video to just dedicate to talking about interviewing tips. But one thing I do want to touch here is when it comes to the actual interview, the more you get to practice, the better you will be able to do. So practice. You can do it with a friend or a family member. Just grab them if they have 10 minutes and just try to present, do like a rehearsal, go through like one project on your portfolio and explain what you have done and ask for their suggestion, or you can do like a video recording. That's actually what I did when back then. I think it helps a ton to, kind of embarrassing at the first, like to record a video of yourself, but once you get into the habit, you will become way comfortable explaining who you are, what you have done, why you are the best candidate for this job. And one of the common question pretty much you will be asking every interview is, tell me a little bit about yourself. And this is one of the questions that the hiring manager is not looking to hear what's your hobby or what you like to do. It's really a question that they are looking to hear what's your qualifications and what you can bring to this job, whether you hit the keywords that you might be a good fit for this potential position. So this is one of the questions, you can start preparing, and I would typically recommend no longer than 2 minutes. How you want to answer this question in a structured way. Tell about who you are, what's your professional experience, why you think you are the best candidate for this job opening, and have a nice quick walkthrough and summary. Maybe touch a little bit about the personal side, like what you enjoy doing as a hobby. Just practice and record. You'll find out so much from your own video what you can actually continue work on and improve. So this is all I have for today. This is a pretty big topic, comes to how to get into UX, but hopefully you find something helpful in this video. If you are interested in learning more about portfolio, please take a look at my video 5 tips of how to create a UX online portfolio. And I'm also planning to create more content to cover topics, for example, interviewing tips and design exercise and so on. If you have anything you'd love to hear about, feel free to drop me a comment here, and I would be happy to connect with you. So talk to you guys next time. Bye.